Hey,
Hello,
Al.
everybody. Hello, everybody. This is Al. I'm here with Andrew Vasquez. We're back here with you for yet another edition of the Expat Hour. I'm now in Posada, Argentina. This is River Paraná right ahead of you. On the other side, there's Paraguay and Encarnacion. I came here recently, and it was much easier than you think. That all it took is to rent a car, $45 per day. It was a 5-hour drive to Encarnacion from the capital. And then I crossed the river in 30 minutes, just a little bridge. Not too many questions. Your U.S. passport is entirely valid here, and you're going to be able to get through that just fine. I mean, by American metrics, all of these prices seem ridiculously low, don't they?
Absolutely. Get a look at that.
Yeah. So this is the Argentinian side of the border.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Al, so can you tell me a little bit more about some of the uh, information we were discussing earlier? Most Americans don't have passports. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, up until very recently, most Americans could go to Canada or Mexico without a passport, just a driver's license. Now the rules have changed. I believe that you need a specialized driver's license that counts as an international document. So most Americans never had the need to venture out of North America at all, whatsoever. And this is beginning to change. Now that when the pandemic has started, and people began getting online jobs, getting an online business has become much more fashionable. And at
Mm.
once the time came to coming back to work again, millions of Americans began questioning the wisdom of a 9 to 5 lifestyle. There has been a resignation crisis in the aftermath of that. A lot of people have given up on the American dream and climbing the corporate ladder. And the result is that we now have thousands of Americans living outside of the United States, finding, finding a way to earn their income online. And I do believe this is definitely very much a change, a positive change.
So, what's really interesting about that is you mentioned, Al, that you used to be able to go ahead and immediately go to Canada or to Mexico without any of that documentation. And now it's becoming more crucial, essentially more crucial than ever, to go ahead and have those documents ready to go in case you do need to travel at a moment's notice.
Yes.
That's so very important. Can you tell us from your experience, Al, times where you've seen people during all of your adventures need to leave a place or just want to go a place for leisure purpose, recreational vacation purposes, but they were stonewalled by not having that documentation ready to go?
Well, I've seen several cases of this. For example, the most common case involves a senior citizen who's about ready to retire and then has already made plans to go to Mexico or Costa Rica. And all of a sudden, the money is there, they're ready to go, the will is there. Where there's the will, there's the way. But what about your pastor? How would you forget that? Oh, I
Yeah.
can't go to Mexico like I used to. Well, no, no, not anymore. It's not just Mexico. It's pretty much every other country that you go to will require a passport, no matter what.
And
So,
that's really where it gets interesting, is that we're becoming globalism has become a thing within the last 10 years, much more so than any point in time. Business purposes, having to travel, making your money online, now more than ever
uh
is
huh.
this is something that people really need to start thinking about. So, Al, in your experience, how long does it typically take somebody with no passport, no documentation to get that initially when they're in the United States?
Oh gosh, last time I applied for my American passport was back in 2017. That took me 2 to 3 weeks, and then 2 years later, I got my Russian passport. Now, Russian bureaucracy is terrible. I went to New York City to the Russian embassy. I turned in all the paperwork, and I was on my way from Mexico to Spain. I just stopped by New York to see my parents for a few weeks. I didn't stick around long enough with them to get my passport, so I went to Spain, and then the passport arrived in the mail. The passport arrived in the mail, and then they sent it to me in Spain. So, depending on your country of origin, so a few weeks to a couple months, and now the passport the process has been expedited. So if you do your paperwork properly as an American citizen, I would be amazed if it takes you longer than a month. I'd say a couple of weeks should be more than enough. That should cut it.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. So, if people are looking very specifically for more information about how to navigate that whole process, right now there's been a lot of talk on the internet about having multiple passports for different purposes. Can you tell us briefly a little bit more about that? Why you may want to have multiple passports, why that might be a good idea, why it might not be a good idea? Just sharing your thoughts with us as the audience.
Well, I mean, I myself have two passports and one residency card, a Russian passport and an American passport, and a Brazilian residency card. And why is this a good idea? Well, most countries go easy on border runs. Yet, if you do this with the same passport constantly, eventually, the immigration officers will notice. Eventually, they're going to start asking questions. But if you use different passports, well, then it's going to be less obvious. So, for example, I've been in Paraguay for a few months now, and I've used two different passports, no questions asked. Maybe I would have been just fine with my American passport, nothing more. And nowadays, though, I mean, I can go in and out with two different passports or even with three different documents, and my chances of having any problems at the border are next to zero.
Okay.
So that just makes travel so much easier and more hassle free.
It's just a way of covering yourself, just a way of being prepared. So, if our viewers are looking for more information about how to strategize something like that, Al, if they're looking for more information about perhaps which passports to apply for, depending on their travel goals, depending on their specific desires, their desired outcome, if they need coaching on this process, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, you can just check the description in this video link. You can set up a meeting with me. You can email me at academiccomposition@gmail.com, and then just book a free appointment. The link to book a free appointment is going to be right there.
Awesome. Awesome. Al, thank you very much for your time this evening. It's been very informative.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. We'll be in touch. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye bye.